Astro Beats.
Shalom, Israel. It's your brother Ananias for A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. And I got my partners with me.
Brother Benaiah.
Brother Ezekiel.
Brother Yakub.
And
Brother
happy Sabbath
Yakub.
to you all. Before we get started, we got to give all honor, glory, praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua for allowing us all to be here today. And Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahushua being his son, who the world's calls Christ, and through his example and his sacrifice, we are all here today. And once again, let me say it again, happy Sabbath to you all. Welcome to another Sabbath class where we come together as a family, where we are striving our best to be edified and uplifted and restored as a nation of people. So it's an honor, it's a privilege for you brothers and sisters to be online with us tonight. And as you can see in the title, it's talking about seeking not after wicked counsel. That's the title of today's class. But before we get started with that, we want to go back and get a little glimpse of history, our past history, just so our brothers and sisters do not, what's the word I'm looking for? Get too comfortable here in this world or in this society that we live in. We don't want you to get too comfortable thinking that everything is peaches and cream, that everything is cotton candy because of the way that they promote things to you on the TV. Everything is not sweet because everything has a history. Everything has a past. And if you don't know your past, you're bound to make the same mistakes. And the same things are bound to happen that have happened in history. Matter of fact, that's written in the scriptures where there's no new thing under the sun. Where has happened, shall happen. Paraphrasing, but that's basically what it's saying. So what we're going to do now is go back in time and get a little history so you can know your history. So, all right. Where we're going in now is a story on a brother named Zachariah Walker. This was a brother, as you can see on the title of this book, that was written about the same incident. This was one of our brothers of the nation of Israel who were done wrong by the other nation, by the wicked, by Esau, the border of wickedness, the so-called white folk, back in the early 1900s. Now, as you can see, they wrote a book about it. And if you want to know more about it, hey, feel free. But the name of this book is Coatesville and the Lynching of Zachariah Walker, the death of a Pennsylvania steel town. All right. This is the picture that most people can associate with. If you don't know, this is that brother, Zachariah Walker. If you do any type of history or research, you will find this picture when you just type in slavery or hangings or lynchings done to our people throughout history. This brother's name is Zachariah Walker. And as you can see, this brother was burnt to death. Now, when you read in 2 Maccabees, I think it's chapter 7, it says, don't be discouraged, Israelites, because of the atrocities or the things that you read in the scriptures, because these things were not done to us to destroy us, but for a chastening, for us to get our minds right. If y'all brother can find that scripture for me, we can read that as well. But looking at this picture, I want to show you who the people who are in the background taking a picture. These are the same people that our people love today to get married to, lay down, have kids with, want to watch them on TV, want to be just like them, want to live in their neighborhoods, want to live and be just like these people. These are the same individuals that work at your banks, that you stand in line to vote for. These are the same individuals who hung your brother and burned him to death and took a picture about it, smiling as if they were celebrating somebody's birthday or, a championship ring that they won from beating somebody in football. They standing around. Look at it. Standing around smiling, taking this picture while a dead man body right there. The smoke still rising off the brother body. This is Zachariah Walker. Now we're going to get into the story behind this brother, just to show you why they believe they had the right to do this. It says, an angry mob burns at stake colored man who murdered police officer Edgar Rice. So they put it on the front of the page saying that this mob burned this man for murdering a police officer. They didn't take him to trial. They didn't give him, proven guilty until proven innocent, or innocent until proven guilty. They didn't give him that right. He didn't get a chance to go to the courtroom or have somebody to stand up and advocate for him. They didn't have that. We're going to read into it and we're going to find out exactly what happened. But as you can see, the title says, an angry mob burns at stake colored man who murdered police officer Edgar Rice. Now, I want you to also notice that the title of this newspaper, they didn't call him African American. It said colored man. So at this particular time in history, if you want to, matter of fact, let's go to the top. This is Coatesville, PA, or Virginia. Pennsylvania, in August of 1911. So for those who hang their hat on calling themselves African American, that name wasn't even in play yet. Wasn't invented. It wasn't coined yet. African American did not become coined until the 1980s. Understand that. Bear with me right quick. All right. So this brother, Zachariah Walker, was considered to be a colored man in 1911 who was burned at the stake, basically, like he was a witch or something. So we're going to go into it. I'm going to read the highlighted part just to go through it quick so we can get to the class. But it says, masked men break into hospital and drag Zachariah Walker to Newland Farm where fire is kindled with fence rails. So they got this brother and drug him from the damn hospital. Why would he go to the hospital? We're going to find that out. This is on the same article, same page, different section though. It says, having shot in cold blood and instantly killed special police officer Edgar Rice of the Worth brothers force about 9 o'clock Saturday night. Zachariah Walker, the murderer, was taken from the Coates. It said, was found hiding up a tree in the woods of Robert Faddis in East Fallowfield Township, and seeing the capture was inevitable, he turned a revolver upon himself, but failed to inflict a mortal wound. So this brother, seeing that these folks was coming to get him, he knew that he couldn't get away from it. So he was trying to pull the pistol and shoot himself. commit suicide, but it failed. He said he was brought to the lockup in Coatesville, quickly revived, and when removed to the hospital an hour later, made a full confession of his crime. So obviously, when they caught him, they beat the hell out of him because the first place he went was to the hospital. Then you know that these people do not deal fairly, and what is it I'm looking for? Your opportunity to have a fair trial, that's obsolete when it comes to us, even today. You having a fair trial does not exist in their eyes. All right, let's keep reading. It said it was just 9:12, according to police officer Stanley Howell on guard at the hospital, that about 15 men gained entrance by forcing one of the large front windows near the main doorway. The window was first broken, and all by a large stone being smashed against it. And Howell, who had rushed to the window as soon as he saw the attack being made. So this 15 men came as a gang, as a little mob, to come get this brother. He at the hospital after already being beaten for a so-called murder that was done to this police officer. Let's keep going. I said, this gave them entrance to the main hallway or lobby of the hospital. All wore white handkerchiefs knotted around their faces and shielding them completely from the eyes to below the chin. So they came in like some type of gang, some type of mob, but they covering their face up. It said a spot 50 feet from the road and directly along the fence was chosen for the burning. Straw was taken from the Newland barn to kindle the flames, and then dry chestnut rails were slipped out of the fence, broken into bits, and placed on top of the burning straw. In less than 3 minutes from the time the match was applied, the flames had reached a height of 10 feet or more. That sounds like a bonfire to me. 10 feet or more. It said the murderer was then asked if he had anything to say, and making no reply, was immediately thrown on the burning pile. Immediately thrown. No court case. Nobody took down any type of documented evidence saying that he did or he didn't commit the murder. Nobody proved anything. But they took this brother and threw him on a 10-foot high fire. It says he tried to escape flames. As the flames licked his clothing and seared his flesh, he gave a mighty leap and, dragging the foot on the bedstead with him, jumped over the fence and was instantly seized. A rope placed around his neck and thrown back on the flames. Twice more he attempted to get away from the seething furnace, and each time he was beaten back with fence rails until all was still and only sickening smell of burning flesh remained. So they threw this brother after catching him in a tree, beating him down. They came, snatched him out of the damn hospital, took him to somebody's barn, set a blaze of fire that was damn 10 feet high, and threw this brother in there. And then while the brother trying to run out of the fire, they pushing him back in there. That's how wicked these individuals are. And our people will be quick to defend them today, saying, oh, they're not like that anymore. Well, you need to ask your question, why were they like that in the first place? Why did they have the authority to do that and get away with it? Our people are so quick to forget what happened. The Bible tells you to remember the days of old. Y'all brother got that precept I was asked about earlier from Maccabees. I think it was chapter, let me see.
I'm getting it out, bro.
All right. Second Maccabees chapter 6, verse 12. I'm going to keep reading on this article, though. It says the fire was lighted about 9:30, and within an hour, nothing but the charred bones of the murderer remained. You see, now it's just the remains of a murderer. He don't even have a name in their eyes anymore. He's just a murderer. That's it. Even though you never proved anything, he's just a murderer. That's one of our brothers of the nation of Israel. And we got to remember these things and remember that this brother gave his life, whether good or bad, he gave his life. And who took his life? Why? We can't remember. I mean, forget about the past. We got to remember all things. It says, all that remained were the charred bones of the murderer remained, although the crowd still wanted, what it said, let me see, watch the fire, excuse me. Although the crowd still watched the fire on past midnight. Now remember what time that fire was lit. Right after 9 o'clock. So these wicked individuals stood out there past midnight, over 3 hours, watching this man burn in the fire. Nobody stopped anything. They all out there taking pictures, as you can see. Stood past midnight and well into the morning. It said, then the men who had dragged Walker from the hospital left the fire. The instant they were satisfied, life was extinct, and running up over the hill, removed their masks under the cover of darkness. You see that? They wasn't even bold enough to take their mask off while they were doing what they were doing. They trying to hide who they were until they got over the hill into the darkness. Then they're going to remove their mask. These are the same individuals who was putting them white sheets over their head, poking holes. They didn't want to come out there boldly and do it. Hid their faces, as always. They always the type that throw rocks and hide their hands. That's why the Lord tell us not to trust our enemies. And for those who don't know, we have enemies, Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's not just our own people killing us. We have enemies outside of our nation, outside of our neighborhoods. We got to be mindful of that. So I'm going to keep going. Once again, just to show you, this is the result of what they did to this brother. And for those who are tuning in late, this is Zachariah Walker. You can look him up on Google, however you want to look it up. Zachariah Walker. Brother accused of killing a cop, a white officer. They burned him in a 10-foot fire. They put a noose around his neck and hung him in that fire, as we just read through the article. So don't forget where you come from, and don't forget who did what to you. This is one of the newspaper clippings that they actually had during that time after it happened. Said Negro was burned alive. Coatesville, colored man. Like I said, no African American, no Negro. It's saying colored man, lynched. Hospital got his pyro beaten with clubs. You see that? When he leaped from fire, they beat this man with clubs. Said forced back into the fire 3 times. Victim was accused of killing a policeman. Accused. These are the things that our people consistently go through throughout history. All you got to do is open the book and read it. Emmett Till just found out today his father was accused of doing some wickedness overseas. He was in the service, so-called serving his country. He overseas and he ended up getting accused of raping Edomite women, some Italian women. Get accused of it. Him and some other brother. They hung them, put them to death. Emmett Till, his son, get accused of trying to approach a white woman. He was hanged. Or not hanged, he was beaten severely. I can't even fathom what was done to that brother. But this brother, Zachariah Walker, was a man lynched and set on fire in front of everybody.
God, I got a precept too, King.
Go ahead, King.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna bring out this Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And you know, man, looking at this picture of this brother Zachariah Walker, you know, showing and seeing how this man got burnt up, you know, and still smoking, as you see. And look at the picture, seeing like he's still on fire. but that's just a smoke. But that shows you a people that call themselves Christians, right? Hypocrites. Basically, they burnt this brother alive for amusement. You know, and ain't no telling what they did with the body. It's a possibility they could have ate it. Because we dealing with the worst beast of the field, which is Esau.
Right.
And what it says a nation of fierce countenance. These people are fierce, man, in their ways, in their actions. How you burn a body, a person, an innocent person at that, for what? For amusement, for destruction, man. This is what these people do. And our people to this day, we still serve them. We still love them. We still want to hold hands with them and marry them. This is sickening, man.
Right.
Sickening.
Can somebody get me 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 12?
I got it. This is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 12. Now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but a chastening for our nation.
So the Lord is telling us the things that you read about and the things that you see is not for our destruction. The Lord did not allow these things to happen just for our destruction. It's not for our destruction, but for a chastening, for us to get our minds right, to wake the hell up and realize we are not supposed to be here. They are not supposed to be able to do that. They're not supposed to be ruling over us. We need to come back to who we are, repent, and start serving the Lord so that these things will not happen anymore. But until we do that, these things will continue to happen. That's why it's important for us to know who we are and what happened in our history. I'm going to go to this last slide, and then we'll get into the lesson. Because they were so proud about it, they actually made one of these signs, which is one of those historical monuments or historical points in time, that they put these signs up all around the United States to show and to remember the wickedness that these other nations did to it. So the sign says the lynching of Zachariah Walker, an African American. So you know that this was not done when he was killed. It's years on down the road. Lynching of Zachariah Walker, an African American steel worker. Walker was burned to death by a mob near here on August 13, 1911. He was accused of killing Edgar Rice, a white security guard and former borough policeman. 15 local men and teenage boys were indicted for their involvement in Walker's death, but were acquitted of all charges. You see that? Nobody was guilty but the man they burned. Nationwide outrage led to the NAACP's National Anti-Lynching Campaign and inspired Pennsylvania's 1923 anti-lynching law. So they didn't do any. They didn't come up with the law till 1923. That brother was killed in 1911. You do the math. But that's the wickedness of these other nations. And they just put it right there in your face to show you how they used to do you, how they still do you. And you have no might in your hands to change it. So for those who keep saying they're not like that anymore, what will stop them from passing a law enabling them to do that again today? If they decide to do that, you wouldn't have no might in your hand to stop them. Israelite man, woman, and child. If they decided to pass a law giving them the right to do what they did to their brother, you wouldn't have nothing in your hand that could stop them. So the message with that is understand your history, know your history. Don't ignore your history, embrace it, push forward and learn from it. So let's continue on with the lesson. And I'm going to start it off with this video.
What should I do? Should I admit that I've made mistakes? Should I remind you that I've done this before?
Should I give you a history lesson?
What should I do? Should I tell you how much fun we had? So, This went well. Should I really believe I ruined my legacy? What should I do? What should I do? I have my tattoo removed. Want to see my shiny new shoes? Should I just sell shoes? Shiny new shoes? Or should I tell you I am not a role model? Hi, Chuck. Seriously, what should I do? I tell you I'm a championship chaser? Did it for the money, rings? Should I be who you want me to be? Should I accept my role as a villain? Maybe I should just disappear. Should I stop listening to my friends? They're my friends. Should I try acting?
You just got to deal with the heat, man. Be patient. After a while, the temperature drops and everything is free and easy.
Should I be writing this down?
Uh-huh.
Should I make you laugh?
Should I read you a soulful poem? Shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. But still, like air, I'll rise.
Or should we just clear the decks and start over? Coming through here! What should I do? Should I be who you want me to be?
So I showed this commercial, showed this old video clip to show you that in this particular video, at that particular point in this man's life, he was trying to figure out what should he do. He was seeking counsel. Seeking counsel. Throughout life, most of us will have to seek counsel. That's how we learn. That's how we grow, especially as a people. You know, you're going to have to seek counsel. So let's start off with the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 20. So the title of the class is Seek Not After Wicked Counsel. Seek not after wicked counsel.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 19 and verse 20. It says, It said, hear counsel and receive instructions, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end.
Read on.
Excuse me. There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord that shall stand.
So we all gonna seek counsel, but at the end, the counsel of the Lord gonna stand. And there's many different devices of a man's mind. A man's mind gonna have him going this way, that way, where he unstable in his thoughts. You know, just like you seen in that commercial, he didn't know what to do. You know, he was scared to move on from the city and scared of being lynched like the brother Zachariah Walker. You know, his legacy, his reputation being burned, people looking down on. He was scared to move. But at the same time, he know he had to move from that situation. He had to grow. And he had all these different people in his ear giving him different counsel. But at the end, we also know that the will of the Lord shall be done. So from there, let's go to Proverbs 1 and 7. Proverbs 1 and 7. And somebody give me Jeremiah 17 and 9.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So when we seeking anything, we should always be fearing the Most High first. Whatever we want to do in life, we need to line it up to thus saith the Lord. Fearing that if we go against it, it's going to be some problems, some consequences that we may have to face, that we will have to face. So whatever we do, we have to fear the Lord first. That's the beginning of knowledge. That's going to help guide your decision making off top. But it says, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. If you want to say the hell with that, hey, that's a foolish individual. Being in this truth, we got to make better decisions, you know, in all things that we do, especially knowing who we are. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 17 and 9. Book of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9.
Book of Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9.
This is the reason why we got to seek knowledge, seek counsel. Go ahead.
The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Somebody give me Jeremiah 7 and 4. So the Lord is saying the heart is deceitful above all things. Deceitful, meaning it's going to tell you wickedness. before it tell you something good. Think about that. You sitting around, you don't know what to do, you sleep on it. All these wicked thoughts start coming to your mind. But the Lord actually come to when you read and seek him first. Then you'll be able to line up your thoughts. Somebody give me that in Jeremiah 7:24.
Book of Jeremiah 7:24. But they hearken not, nor incline their ear, but walketh in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward.
You see that? That's what happens when you don't seek the Lord first. You'll end up going backwards. It's already written. It ain't nothing that we can change about it. It's already written. When you go contrary to the Lord, you're going to end up going backwards. Read it one more time, King.
It says,
because this is us as a nation of people that he's speaking to. It happens to us as an individual, but as a nation, he was talking to us. Read that one more time.
But they hearken not, nor incline their ear, but walk in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart.
Yeah, you know, we telling them, hey, you can't be celebrating your birthday. It's in the scripture. You ain't supposed to be following the ways of the heathen. You can't be celebrating Christmas because all they did was combine a bunch of traditions from all these other nations to make one and try to say it's your savior. And then they whitewashed his face. Nah, that's what the world say. That's what I'm gonna do. Or it's for the kids. That's wicked as hell. When the Lord say hearken, they say hell nah. We ain't got time for that. They never inclined their ear, but walked in the counsel of their own imagination. In their own imagination. Who telling them? Just like we watched in that LeBron clip. Who was telling him what he was listening to? Who was putting that bug in their ear? They went backwards, not forward. That's why we as a nation of people are not progressing like we supposed to. They'll look and say, well, we able to drive down the street, go to the same schools, work at the same building. They think that we got it better off than we did 100 years ago. Wrong. But hey, let's keep reading. Let's go to Proverbs 11 and 14. If y'all brothers got precept, feel free to chime in.
Do you have the book
Proverbs
of
11 and 14?
Do you have the book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 14 already?
Yeah.
You
got
do?
it later on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Proverbs 11 and 14.
The book of Proverbs. Book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse number 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
So, read that one more time.
Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
So where you don't have any counsel, the people will fall. Our brothers and sisters will fall. We as individuals will fall when you don't have counsel. What is counsel? Advice, wisdom, understanding. It says, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Why? Because you'll get more options made available to you, a different perspective on thinking when you actually seek counsel. Because when you only trust in your own mindset, you're liable to go off, especially when you're not following after the ways of the Lord. You're going to go to hell off. So when you seeking counsel, you're going to find different options, different ways of looking at things. But we're going to find out later, you got to seek godly counsel, not wicked counsel. Wicked counsel will tell you, hey, if you married and you struggling, having problems, hey, you ain't got to deal with that, girl. It's better out there for you. You a strong black woman. You can do this on your own. And I had you raising a family by yourself, trying to anyway. Wicked counsel will have you quitting your job because somebody said, you ain't got to take that. You going to let your boss talk to you like that? You going to let that brother talk to you like that? And get you out the spirit and you go smack somebody or cuss somebody out. You lost your job. Now you can't provide for your family. That's what wicked counsel will do for you. But in a multitude of counsel, there is safety. That's what we got to understand. So we got to always seek righteous and godly counsel. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1. Book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1, and we're going to read that to 6.
The book of Psalms,
Go ahead, King.
book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law, and in his law does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff of the wind driven away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish.
All right. Somebody give me Sirach 8 and 17. So I'm not going to reread this whole thing again, but it's saying, the Lord saying basically, you be blessed when you walk not in the way of the ungodly. When they are telling you to break the commandments, to have fun, to say to hell with the Lord, hey, you going to hell off. But blessed is that man that say, I'm going to fight for the Lord. I'm going to fight for my people. I'm going to do what I need to do. Blessed is that individual, because his delight is in the law. Ain't no delight in going out there trying to damn party and drink till you can't stand, trying to sleep with as many women. Ain't no joy in it. That's an empty satisfaction that can never be filled. You know, even though most of us was in the world chasing that, that's because we ain't had no understanding. But that's vanity. I put it that way. They say when you chase the law, you become as a tree planted by living water. A tree is something strong and it stands for years. It don't be withered by the different seasons that come by. And when they say planted by the rivers of water, that good understanding that help it continue to grow and stay strong. That's what the word of the Most High is, that living water. You know, they say the ungodly are not so. The ones that say to hell with the Lord, nah, he know my heart. Man, we ain't got time for that. You're not gonna stand. You're gonna perish. You know, it says, the ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Just like that damn tumbleweed that you see in the damn Wild Wild West movie. They just being tossed to and fro by the wind. Whatever come their way, whatever Esau tell them, they believe in, and they being tossed to and fro. They ain't got no solid foundation, no ground, no soil to be planted in. They don't believe in nothing but lies. And them lies gonna have them going everywhere. You know? It says, therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. So you ain't gonna be in the congregation of the righteous when you constantly going to hell off, thinking that I can get it later on. Lord love everybody. No, that is not the case. That ain't what he just said. You're not gonna be in the congregation of the righteous. That don't even make sense. Let's go to Sirach 8 and 17, unless y'all got a precept.
Yeah, I got one. The book of Psalms, chapter 14 and verse. No, I'll wait on your next one. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead, King.
All right.
You got it.
Go to Sirach 8 and 17.
The book of Sirach, chapter 8 and verse 17. Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel.
Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel. That's simple. It's plain. Don't consult with fools, because they ain't gonna give you nothing that's gonna be beneficial. Hey, brother. Hey, what you think I should do? Let me see. Should I? All right. Hey, brother. I'm married. But that sister over there, she keep giving me the eye, man. What should I do? Man, go and do that, bro. That's a fool. You shouldn't even be dealing with it. You shouldn't even entertain it. That's a fool. And you know that individual live that type of lifestyle? Why would you even consult to that brother? Should I do that? Or that sister? Why would you even waste your time going to that fool to get an answer? You know? Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel.
Let me get a precept, bro.
Say that?
Let me get a precept on it.
All right.
It's 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 33. First, hold up.
Hey, y'all make sure y'all taking notes and like and subscribe while we doing this class so we can get this message out to our brothers and sisters so they can wake up. Go ahead, King.
1 Corinthians 15:33, and it says, "Be not deceived, evil communication corrupt good manner." Yeah, so like I said, evil communication corrupt good manner. So if a person is giving, basically a person give you bad advice, evil advice is gonna corrupt your good thinking if you take heed to what that person is telling you. Like the brother Joe was saying, you married and you saying the woman over there keep giving you the eye, and your buddy telling you go on handle that, you know, that evil communication that gonna corrupt your good thinking.
That's right.
That's right. Let me get a precept, King.
Go ahead, King. I can't hear you.
The book of Psalms, chapter 14 and verse 1. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. So the fool, he said in his heart, there is no God. These are your agnostics, your atheists, right? Hey, even other people who believe in other doctrines, right? And other religions, for the most part. But this is mainly talking about the atheists, right? The fool saying in his heart there is no God. The fool will say that we came from apes, or we came from the Big Bang Theory, right? That alone, right, is a different doctrine and another religion. And what comes with another religion? A whole nother thought process and a way of thinking, right? Their mind is not on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? Their mind is on worldly things, right? So just like the brother bringing up, hey, you might ask a brother like, hey man, should I smoke marijuana? Hey man, should I smoke this cigarette? Hey, the person in the world, they might tell you yeah, because ultimately they don't have any laws that they go by. They don't have morals and codes that they stick by according to the scripture. All right, but you got it, King.
That's right. Let's go to Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. Because a lot of our brothers and sisters will run to the other nations. And because we haven't been taught otherwise, we'll go pay to be counseled by the wicked, not knowing that these other nations are the wicked individuals that the Bible speaks of. You know, we'll go pay money through insurance, go seek their counsel through your jobs. You know what I'm saying? We'll go sit down and let a damn Edomite tell them our business, our problems, thinking they got an answer. When their whole purpose, their whole design is to lie, steal, and destroy. Lie, kill, and destroy. But we, being destroyed for a lack of knowledge, don't know that, and we'll go sit down in front of them, in front of a shrink, a psychologist, however you want to call it, and pour out our problems thinking they can solve it. And majority of our people end up worse off than what they were beforehand by going to see these individuals. But let's see what the Lord say. Sirach 12 and 10 and 11.
Sirach, wait, you got it.
Okay. Sirach chapter 12 and verse 11.
Start at 10.
10. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So you have to understand Israel, so-called black man, Hispanic woman, Native American. You have enemies. And the Lord say, do not trust your enemies. Don't trust them. This is one of the reasons why they pulled the Apocrypha out of the original 66 books. I mean, away from the 66 books in the King James Version Bible. Because it tells you other truth that you might skip over in the original 66. But it say never trust thy enemy. Not when you feel like it. Not when they smile and pat you on the back, give you a job, give you a handout. Not when they say, yeah, you can get this house, you've been approved, Not when they want to take you on vacation or say, yeah, you can go to my college. The Lord said, never trust thine enemy. Never. Read verse 11, King.
Verse 11. Though he himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
You see that? It's just like your car, a looking glass, that windshield. That's a looking glass. You wiping it, it raining, you wiping it just to get a clear view so you can see. But that rain and that dust and that film, that dirt gonna pile right back up on it. That's what the Lord's saying about your enemies. That wickedness is going to be there. It don't matter how many times you wash that car. That wickedness, that dust, that filth is gonna be there. It said, it said, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Meaning it's never gonna be wiped away from your enemy. It's always gonna be there. Therefore, we should never seek counsel from them. Because any counsel you get from your enemy is going to be wicked as hell. Understand it. It's going to be wicked counseling. And what's the title of the class? Seek not after wicked counsel. So don't be going to them to figure out how you can deal with your marriage, how you can raise your children. They can't give you the answer. Even though they present some form of a model of raising children, are they the same individuals that you can go to the grocery store and see them with a dog collar around their child neck, walking around the store, and you want to be like them? Are they the same individuals that got the damn kids blowing their heads off, going up shooting schools up? Why you want to model after them? Are they the same individuals that you just seen at the beginning of this class in that photo who would take a man, beat him down, and then take him and throw him in a damn bonfire and sit there and watch it all night like you've been popping popcorn? These are the same folks that you watching and cheering after and following behind. They can say, I'm not like that. Your history shows otherwise. Just like they look at us and they say we thugs and criminals. Y'all are the biggest terrorists on this planet. It is what it is. But from there, jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He said he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
I mean, I could go on for days speaking on this. Each brother on here could go on for days speaking about this particular verse right here. This is what y'all just got through celebrating a couple weeks ago. Thanksgiving. That's the same thing that just happened. They came over here speaking sweet words. Oh, I love this place. I love your outfits. I love how you got your long hair. I love how y'all take care of each other. How you wash your ass. Can you help us? We're sick. We need your help. We can't. We ain't got no food. Can you help us? That season, that holiday you just celebrated, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, was a perfect example of this scripture right here. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. The whole time while they were teaching them individuals, the so-called pilgrims, how to grow crops on the land, they were like, yeah, we're going to learn their language. We're going to learn the ins and outs of everything that they do. And we're going to overthrow them. It says he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. That's why he's still coming up with plots and schemes today to try to knock us off, because he has not succeeded in it. Because we still here. The Lord won't let us be wiped off the planet or the earth, but they trying their damnedest to come up with anything to try to wipe us out. Planned Parenthood, drugs, alcohol, guns, dumbing us down, random killings, the music, the movies, anything you can think of, the food, the restaurants, they trying their damnedest to knock us off, whether y'all know it or not.
Bring out the precept, brother.
Go ahead, King.
Is Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were the drawn swords. See that? Say the word was smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. It's just like when you say he came over here to the Native American Indian. Yeah, let us give you some blankets. But what was in them blankets? Smallpox. War was in his heart. But at the same time, the word was smoother than butter. You know?
That's right. Good precept, King. From there, let's go to Sirach chapter 37, verse 7. What we're going to read now is counsel to avoid and counsel to seek. You know, counsel to avoid and counsel to seek. Sirach chapter 37, verse 7.
Book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse number 7.
Every counselor to 15.
All right. Book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 7. Every counselor extolleth counsel, but there is some that counseleth for himself. Beware
so be mindful of that as well. Some individuals that you go to get counsel from, advice from, understanding from, you got to understand their mindset and where they're coming from, what they're going through, what is it that they trying to establish. Because it says some only counsel for himself. Now, what I mean by that, some just say, I'm going to use a worldly example. You got two sisters, and both of them like the same guy. You know what I'm saying? But one sister actually got the brother attention, so she come back asking the other one, what should I do? If she wicked as hell, she going to give counsel to throw that sister away or to push that brother away so she can have her shot at him. We didn't seen it before in movies, in TV shows before. You know what I'm saying? That's just a worldly example to show you. But those type of things actually happen in the scriptures. And we'll get to that later on, though. But keep reading.
Verse number 8. Beware of a counselor and know before what need he hath. For he will counsel for himself, lest he cast the lot upon thee.
Same principle. Go ahead.
And say unto thee, thy way is good. And afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee.
You see that? You got individuals. Everybody's not in your corner. That's why I say there's safety in a multitude of counseling. Not just one individual. There's safety in a multitude. You get a wide range or wide variety of different perspectives to think on besides just one. Besides what's in your mind and just beside what one individual tell you. Because you'll listen to some individuals and they'll tell you to go drive off the damn cliff and stand by, just like Esau, throw that rock and hide their hand. Give you that counsel to have you go, hey, I ain't feeling too good. I'm drunk. Should I go drive? Man, you can make it. Go ahead. Next thing you know, you get a call, you hear about that brother on the side of the road somewhere. But you told him to go ahead and drive. Wicked counsel. If you're real about it, you should look out for that individual. Make sure they get home or sleep it off, whatever the case may be. But some individuals are not in your corner, whether it be in your circle of friends or in your own damn family, your co-workers. Everybody's not in your corner. So be mindful of that as well. Seek not after wicked counsel. These are the clues that the Lord is laying out to let you know what's good counsel and what's not. Keep going.
Verse number 10. Consult not with one that's expected thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee.
You see that? That's just the example we were talking about the sisters. You know, we're going to read on that as well. It's going to explain itself in the next verse.
Verse number 11. Neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous, neither with a coward in matter of war, nor with a merchant concerning exchange, nor with a buyer of selling, nor with an envious man of thankfulness, nor with an unmerciful man touching kindness, nor with the slothful for any work, nor with the hireling for a year of finishing work, nor with an idle servant of much business. Hearken not unto these in any matter of counsel.
You see that? Read that last part again.
Hearken not unto these in any matter of counsel.
Don't hearken to any of these in any matter of counsel. A woman that's jealous, don't deal with that. Don't go seeking no counsel from a woman that's jealous. Don't go seeking in matters of war to a damn coward. Don't go seeking business advice from a damn merchant. Nor with the buying and selling, nor with an envious man. All these type of individuals do not seek counsel for. The Lord telling you plain as day. The Lord ain't tell you to take counsel from everybody. You'd be a damn fool to do that. He giving you context clues. He leaving you breadcrumbs to find your way home so you can wise the hell up, Israel. Let's go to verse 12.
Verse number 12. But be continually with a godly man.
Read that again.
But be continually with a godly man.
You see that? Go ahead.
Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
Plain as day. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. That's a godly man. When he keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind. Because if you keeping the commandments, your brothers and sisters, their mindset should be the same. Because it's commanded of us to be on one accord. And we'll sorrow with thee. When you got problems going on, they got problems going on. Because we all supposed to bear what? Bear each other's burdens. That's commandment as well. It says, and we'll sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. Anything you got going on, when you fall off, we all fall off. It ain't like how some of these coons be at damn cooning for the other nations. Boss, you sick, we sick. Nah, you supposed to have that mindset about your people. You know? But let's keep reading.
Sirach chapter 37 and verse number 13. And let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. Verse 14. For a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower.
You see that? That's why the Lord tell us in Proverbs, don't lean on your own understanding. Why? Because your mind will have you racing. Left, right, up, down, back, forth. It'll have you thinking. Let me see. You said, for a man's mind sometime want to tell him more than 7 watchmen, meaning 7 men watching at the top of a castle in a watchtower. Your mind be wanting to tell you more than what they can see. You know? So you got to be mindful of that. Ghetto Boy made a song back in the day, My Mind Playing Tricks on Me. It wasn't that they were just coked up or doped up, whatever the case. Hey, your mind be playing tricks on you. That's scriptural. We got to be mindful of that as well. So we got to seek counsel, but not wicked counsel. Keep reading.
Verse number 15. And above all this, pray to the Most High, that he will direct thy way in truth.
Read that one more time, King. I don't think they listening.
And above all this, pray to the Most High, that he will direct thy path in truth.
So the main thing you need to do is pray to the Most High for understanding. But he tells you in all things seek understanding. He tell you, what it was at? Verse 12, be continually with a godly man, with somebody that's going to keep the commandments. Because that's where you're going to get your best answer from. Men following the commandments, but when you seek the Lord, that's where you're going to get your understanding. When you seek wicked counsel, it's going to take you under. And you ain't going to do nothing but be sucking your teeth, shaking your head when you listen to the other individuals. You be like, man, I should have never did that. I should have listened to my brothers, my sisters. I should have followed what the Lord had written. I following my own mind, listening to this fool. That's how you're going to end up. But from there, let's go to Matthew chapter 14, verse 1. And what we're going to do is get an example of what wicked counsel is and how it's performed in the scriptures. Matthew chapter 14, verse 1, and we're going to read that to 11.
Matthew chapter 14. Chapter 14 and verse 1.
This is going into the account of John the Baptist. Go ahead.
At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Yahushua and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works show forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herod's his Philip's wife. For he said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet.
You see that? So this is going into Herod dealing with John the Baptist. And it says that he had him locked up basically because he told him that he couldn't be with his brother's wife. Being a prophet, he knew the law. So he telling Herod, who's supposed to be a leader over our people, he an Edomite, but he was leading our people, ruling over them due to our wickedness. But he told him John and corrected him, and he wanted to put John to death for that. But he didn't want to do that for the love of the people. Read verse 6.
Verse 6. But when Herod's birthday was kept,
his what?
But when Herod's birthday was kept,
you see that the birthday, this is what we're going into right now. This is one of the reasons why we, as a nation of people, are not supposed to be celebrating birthday. This very example right here. So if your kids watching, pay attention to this. This is one reason why we are not supposed to celebrate birthday. This is what happened to our people around the other nations' birthdays. Read that again, King.
But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodas danced before them and pleased Herod, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, Give me here John Baptist's head in a charger.
So this was King Herod's birthday, and he got his Herodias' daughter dancing for him. And he liking what he's seeing. He said, Hey, what do you want? What do you want? Let me know. So she went to her mama, and her mama gave her some wicked counsel. But hey, what can you expect from a wicked nation? But this is an example of wicked counsel. She told her mama to put John the Baptist's head on a charger, meaning on a plate. You know, you watching the movies, they had a damn tray with the hood on it, room service, they pull it off, got the head on them. That's what we're going into, charger. Put the head on a charger, go ahead.
And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her.
So he didn't really want to do that, but he had already given his word. And that just goes to show you as well how back in the day, everybody's word meant something, supposed to. It meant something. Today, people say things and they don't mean it at all. It don't mean nothing. But even the other nations' word meant something back then. So once he made that claim and he heard what she asked for, he had to do what she asked for. So he was forced to have John the Baptist's head put on a plate. Go ahead.
And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother.
And she brought it to her mother. That's wicked as hell, you know. But these are the things that people don't even pay attention to. They skip right over that and say that the Most High love everybody. How? You know? How? But like I said earlier, the will of the Lord will be done. That's what he wanted to happen. You know? But from there, let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 22. 2 Chronicles chapter 22, and we're going to read 1 through 4. Give you another example of how wicked counsel will get you hemmed up. 2 Chronicles 22, and verse 1 through 4.
Book of 2 Chronicles chapter 22 and verse 1. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem made Ahaziah his youngest son king in his stead. For the band of men that came with the Arabians to the camp had slain all the elders. So Ahaziah, the son of Jeroham, king of Judah, reigned. 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. Verse number 3. He also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was his counselor to do wickedly.
To do what?
To do wickedly.
To do wickedly. Keep reading.
Verse number 4. Wherefore he did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for they were counselors after the death of his father to his destruction.
You see that? Did evil in the sight of the Lord. And who was counseling him? Understand that. His father had already been put to death. Now his mother was counseling him to do wickedly. Wherefore he did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for they were counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. So he was destroyed behind that wicked counsel as well. So let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 13.
Book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman, being deceived, was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Hold on, let me get that right quick.
All right, the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse number 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
You see that? So said for Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. So we got to be mindful of that as well, that the woman be giving wicked counsel for the majority of the time. That's why it's commanded for the man to lead. Because even in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, Eve was deceived by the serpent. You know, matter of fact, let's go get there. Genesis chapter 3, verse 13. Genesis chapter 3, verse 13.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord God said unto the woman, what is that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat.
So she was, at the beginning, she was tricked. She was beguiled. They hit her with a false doctrine, had her to run that back home to deceive the household. That was wicked counsel that she accepted in the very beginning. You know, we got to be mindful of that. These other nations, they know that, and they'll try their damnedest to corrupt our nation by going through our women first. because the message that they spew to the women, they'll use that to infiltrate the house with, you know. And as you can see in the first two articles or the first scriptures that we read, not first, but the last two that we read, it was talking about how the mother came with wicked counsel. You know what I'm saying? To lead them down the wrong path. And this is from the beginning. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
Read 17.
Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shall thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
So not only was the woman punished, but she was punished for listening to Satan, basically. Listening to the doctrine of Satan. And Adam was punished because he chose to follow after his woman, after his wife, rather than follow the commandment. You know what I'm saying? He hearkened to his wife instead of hearkening to the Most High, the creator of all things. That's what a lot of our men and brothers do to this day. They'll listen to the lies and run with it. Or they'll know it to be a lie or something false, and they'll ignore the hell out of it. That's why you see our society the way it is today.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't a knock on the sisters, but I'm saying, look in society right now. Why is it that 90% of our women wearing these damn wigs and weaves? Because the men are not saying, hey, that's wrong. These folks telling you that's beautiful, that's not. They just letting it go by, and they turning a blind eye because they want to get their rocks off. Because they don't want to stand up and be men. They'll let the women do whatever the hell they want to do. They don't want to stand up for nothing. These women walking around with damn cotton candy wigs on, spending $200-300 on these wigs. As the brother was showing last night, a woman put a damn wig on like she was putting a football helmet on. And every sister in the comment section was saying, that's nice. That's unique. I got to get me one of them. That's false. That's a false image of beauty. That's a damn lie. But I guarantee the brother that see that and trying to get with her, he ain't going to say nothing about it. Why? Because he want to get his rocks off. So whatever going on, these brothers today don't want to stand up and be real men. Just like Adam went the hell off in the beginning. He let Eve come tell him to break the commandments. And look what happened behind it. See that? So we got to know the roles of each individual. We got to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. We got to not seek after wicked counsel, because that counsel she took from the very beginning was counsel of Satan. That's wicked as counsel. Moving on, let's jump to Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. Men got to stand up and be real men in these last days. Revelation chapter 12, verse 15.
Book of Revelations, chapter 12 and verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
So he said the serpent, Satan, Esau, same individual that was in Genesis is in Revelation. Said cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman. The woman is the nation of Israel. When you read through various scriptures, the Lord always talk about Israel being a woman. But he said he cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away after the flood. That's doctrine. Those are lies that he spewed out his mouth to have our nation carried away. Main one, like he started off with in the very beginning in Genesis. If you eat off this tree, you will not die. That's like telling us you ain't got to keep the commandments. They done away with. You will not die. That's the same principle. Same principle. Matter of fact, to prove what the flood is, let's go to Proverbs 18:4 right quick. We're going to come back to that, but let's jump to Proverbs 18:4.
All right.
All right. Book of Proverbs, chapter 18 and verse 4. The words of a man's mouth are as deep as waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook.
So the words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, floods, the words coming out of a man's mouth. So the dragon, the serpent, cast out of his lies and out of his mouth in Revelation 12:15. The serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, lies, saying and showing us that Yahweh looked like a damn Edomite. All the angels were white. God is white. God loves everybody. Everybody can make it to the kingdom. All you got to do is believe. A flood that will carry us away from the Most High. Carry us into wickedness. Carry us into damnation. Carry us into death, into slavery, into captivity. That's what that flood did. Read Revelation 12:16.
And the earth, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
So somebody give me Psalms 85:11 right quick. I'm gonna show you how the earth opened up and swallowed up the flood.
Book of Psalms, chapter 85, and verse number 11, and it reads, "Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven."
So the Lord said, "Truth shall spring out of the earth." What is that truth? The internet. That's exactly what it is. You got all these different literary scholars, books, encyclopedias, everything that can be read. But the internet is what's actually out there. These different apps, Snapchats, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. That is the truth that's springing up out of the earth, and it can't be stopped. Swallowing up the lies that we have been dealt with or dealt throughout life. Truth springing out of the earth. That's how that flood is being swallowed up. No longer are we falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We understanding who we are today. The Lord is waking us up. That's why we on this call today. That's how we know who we are today. The so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American. We are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, because we can go through history. We can go through the scriptures now, and we can pick out and destroy the lies and strongholds that plague our people. So let's keep reading verse 17. Revelation 12:17.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Yahweh Christ.
All right. So it says, and the dragon was wroth, meaning mad, pissed off with the woman, meaning the nation of Israel, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Yahweh Mashiach. So the ones who know who the Father is, thus saith the Lord, and keep the commandments and have faith in Yahweh, those are the ones that the other nations are going to war with, or the dragon, Esau, are going to war with. When we go out to the highways and byways, those are the individuals that's coming up trying to knock down the doctrine, trying to stand on 10 toes when they can't. These are the individuals who are making blasphemous videos. These are the ones who are sitting in high places trying to tear our brothers down, whoever got a platform try to speak against it, against their wickedness. You've seen it happen with Kyrie, Kanye, Deshaun Jackson, Nick Cannon, and various other brothers. Whenever we start waking up, and if these brothers got a platform, they're going to chop the head off. You know what I'm saying? Nike dropped their deal with Kyrie because he posted a link. A link. He ain't do none of that that Kanye did. They destroyed everything he had. Tried to. You know what I'm saying?
And you notice it says to go to war with the ones who keep the commandments of the
Right.
Most High. Why not the other ones? The people who are not keeping the commandment, they are not a threat. The one that's keeping the commandment, we the one consider a threat. So that's why I said to go to war with those who keep the commandments of the Most High. They not worried about you Israelites who ain't trying to keep the commandments. Y'all the ones gonna get them big time contracts.
Right. And
And
you're
the
gonna continue to lead
multi-billion-dollar
the people
deal.
down the wrong way.
Right. But the one who keeping the commandments, we the threat.
Right. They
So
can't
that
control them individuals.
right. So we who they going to war with.
Right.
The one who know who they are, the one who said we Israelite, we ain't black no more. You call yourself
right.
black African American all day, they gonna speak to you, shake your hand as soon as you walk through the door. But if you said you're an Israelite in front of everybody, that them speaking to you and shaking your hand is gonna cease. They gonna turn their nose up at you and see how they can screw you over.
Right.
What you got?
All right. Next, we're gonna go to this video right quick just to show you the impact, and the enemy know the impact that TV have on our brains, on our brothers and sisters, just on people in general. But we know that everything that they do is toward us as a nation. Like we just read, they went to make war against the remnant of her seed, you know? So they constantly doing things to try to inflict us. So let's check this video out.
And working, Americans are more likely to watch television than engage in any other activity. But the latest evidence also suggests there can be negative consequences to our abundant watching, particularly when the shows are mostly entertainment.
Each Crossroads story is based on the actual experiences of American clergymen, pastor, priest, or rabbi.
The harm seems to come not so much from the content itself, but from the fact that it replaces more enlightening ways of spending time. In Norway and a handful of other developed countries, average IQ scores have declined slightly in recent
years. You see that? IQ scores then dropped because of TV. People are not thinking anymore. Keep that in mind, my brothers and sisters. When you think about placing your child in front of the TV, don't expect them to get smarter. The facts, the numbers don't lie. They already proven it.
Recent years, after rising for many decades. This is known as the negative Flynn effect. Among native Norwegian men taking an exam at age 18 for military conscription, those born in 1974 scored 2 IQ points higher than those born in 1987. The Norwegian economist Øystein Hernes and his co-authors attributed some of this decline in IQ scores to access to cable television, which also coincided with a sharp decline in reading. After the introduction of cable in 1981, Norwegian teenagers and young adults drastically cut back on daily time spent reading from 1980 to 2000 and increased their time watching TV. Moreover, relative to public television, cable television had far less educational content and was focused on entertainment and advertisements.
Started using Head & Shoulders, the most effective dandruff shampoo you can buy.
A handful of American studies along these lines have focused on the political consequences that news media coverage can have, showing that exposure to Fox News could increase Republican Party vote share significantly, and that exposure to MSNBC increased Democratic Party voting share. Television has a big...
You see that? They even let you know by watching certain channels, they're going to influence you by the content that they put on there to vote or to side with one particular party in politics. So they know through their counsel what they can control and what they cannot. We got to be mindful of these things as well.
Big impact on the way we spend our free time. It probably affects younger people more than adults as they watch more TV. Critics of television claim that TV takes away too much of our free time so that we lack time for other activities like family conversations, reading, getting exercise, etc. It also shows us a world that is not real. Television often encourages us to think the world is more violent than it really is. Through TV, we perceive the glamorous life of people and believe that they are better off than we are. Television contributes to our education and knowledge. Documentaries and information programs give us insight on nature, our environment, and political events. Television has a huge impact on politics. In election years, discussions, speeches, and campaign news of candidates are broadcast almost every day. Political parties buy TV time to present their views and bring ideas to the audience.
Bring their ideas by spending money. So if they want to influence society to go being homosexual, that's what they're going to do. That's what they promote. They spend their money on it to put their ideas out there. That's wicked counsel, whether we know it or not.
According to estimates, there are 121 million TV homes in the United States for the 2020 through 2021 TV season. Estimates suggest that in 2021, U.S. adults will spend an average of 3 hours and 17 minutes watching TV each day. As for the amount of binge watching we're doing, a Netflix survey...
Pay attention to this. They just said the average adult spend about 3 hours a day watching TV. What they talking about now is binge watching. These individuals that turn on the damn Netflix, turn on the TV and sit there and watch whole seasons. Listen to what he say.
Found that 61% of users regularly watch between 2 to 6 episodes of a show in one sitting. A more recent study found that most Netflix members choose to binge watch their way through a series versus taking their time, finishing an entire season in 1 week. In fact, according to Nielsen, 361,000 people watched all 9 episodes of season 2 of Stranger Things on the first day it was released.
You see that? Each episode probably 30 minutes to an hour long. These people are studying everything, and they know that most people are going to sit there and watch all 8 to 9 episodes the first day that season drop. Let's see what else transpires behind that.
In a study done by the University of Toledo, 142 out of 408 participants identified themselves as binge watchers. This group reported higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depression than those who were not binge watchers.
Those individuals that do that, high levels of stress, anxiety, depression, who binge watch. Why? Because they stay isolated by themselves, watching TV. They become stressed out, anxious all the time, and depressed. This is what happens from being trapped or reeled in by the damn wicked counsel of this TV.
But in examining the habits that come with binge watching, not hard to see why it would start to impact our mental health. For starters, if you're not doing it with a roommate or partner, binge watching can quickly become isolating. The evidence from social science suggests that biased or sensationalist news programs may misinform citizens or discourage civic engagement, and that we should also be cautious about what we give up for the sake of entertainment.
What we give up for the sake of entertainment. Nobody is taught to think anymore. It's just follow what's given to you or what's told to you. Nobody thinks anymore. Perfect example is YouTube. As much information is put on YouTube, nobody uses that information to build themselves up for the most part, especially the kids. Why is that? That blows my mind. You know, you can actually go to a place that'll teach you how to damn near do everything. And the kids don't want to use it. They struggle day in and day out with everything, but the answers are right there in front of them, just like the answer to us as a nation has been right in front of us all our lives, in the scriptures, in the Bible, been there right before our eyes, in everybody's household. The answers to all the problems that we have, right there in front of them. Just like YouTube, you can go on there and learn how to build a car, how to build a house, how to build a bomb, a robot, how to do anything you want to learn. It's on YouTube, but these kids and a lot of our adults will not go on there and seek answers to better themselves. Why is that? Because you've been binge watching, you've been watching TV so much, been scrolling so long, you don't know how to think anymore. Everything is just about feelings. Well, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing it. Hey, we're going to find out how these things affect us. I'm gonna show you another video right quick.
Raising concerns about how what your children watch affects the way they think and feel about gender. And Mara is here with the details. And you spent some time with some families, Mara?
I did, yeah. A group of parents and kids who spoke really candidly about the gender stereotypes they're seeing. This new survey finds parents say those images shape what their kids think it means to be a boy or a girl. Everything from how they look and
What it means to be a boy or a girl. That's how confusing things are today.
talk, even to the kinds of jobs they aspire to. From their favorite TV shows,
The Queen,
to big screen blockbusters. TV shows and movies are a big part of our kids' lives. But just how is all of this screen time affecting how boys and girls see themselves? This morning, an eye-opening new survey shedding light on how stereotypes in movies and on TV impact the way kids think about gender, sexuality, and diversity.
You see that? Kids don't even know their gender or their sexuality or diversity. They shouldn't even be thinking about them. But to know whether or not they're a girl or boy, they got problems with that today because of the wicked counsel that come through the TV, through the music, and through the things that they see at their schools or churches.
Parents feel that TV and movies are incredibly influential on their kids' perceptions.
The survey finding parents say movies and TV heavily influence their children. More than half of respondents saying they're especially concerned about their children seeing sexualization of girls and women, violence against girls or women, and boys or men shown as hyperviolent or aggressive.
Do you see stereotypes being reinforced?
Absolutely.
We sat down with a group of parents who share many of these concerns.
There's still the label that if a girl plays sports, she's kind of a tomboy instead of just a girl who plays sports.
My son, his favorite colors are pink and purple. He's got a purple scooter. So I want him to be seeing these same lines become more blurry that used to be so segmented.
75.
You see, none of them have a real foundation or I'll just leave it at that. They don't have a foundation to really stand on. Everything is about feelings. I feel that this should be going on. I feel that it shouldn't be about feelings when it comes down to raising your children. Feelings ain't got nothing to do with it. We should be able to come to the word of the Most High to learn how to raise our children. And it ain't got nothing to do with feelings. But I'm going to keep playing.
5% of respondents saying media images impact the way girls think they should look.
They have to wear this much makeup or they have to be this body shape or this body type. And that scares me.
The kids we spoke to also have strong feelings about what they're seeing and their own gender rules.
But I just don't like how they portray the girls because, like, they're wearing, like, belly shirts and, like, really short shorts. They don't have to follow the boys' lead. They're not boys. They can do whatever they want to do.
So
you see that? She already been indoctrinated at a young age. They can do whatever they want to do. That's the mindset that's being raised in the kids today. You can do whatever you want to do. No consequence. Because our parents are not being parents anymore. They rather be a kid friend.
I want to see girls be stronger.
Yeah.
Does anyone ever give you a hard time when you say pink is your favorite color?
Yes.
And what do you say back?
I say all colors are the same. There's no such thing as boy colors and girl colors.
You see that? All colors are the same. No such thing as boy colors and girl colors. Colors are just colors. You would have never heard that when we were coming up and the generation before. But now, because everybody is feminine as hell, these are the mindsets that they have.
Another major finding of the study, the lack of diversity on screens. More than half of parents saying there is a lack of non-white role models for both boys and girls, something this group agrees with.
What do you like to watch?
Doc McStuffins, because it's just a brown girl like me on a show.
Why do you like seeing girls like you on TV?
Because it makes me feel like there are people like me that I can look up to.
A parent's first job is to educate your kids and to share your own values, show them the behavior, show them the.
Now, what they don't tell you in that, they try to sweeten the deal by, once again, using those smooth words, saying that you can see your own people on the screen. But when you see your own people on the screen in the movies and the TV shows today, what are they showing us doing? Breaking the commandments. breaking the commandments, doing everything but what we're supposed to be doing. You know, you see your people on TV, the men dressing up like women. So the boy look up and say, well, I can be a girl too. That's what you got with Dwayne Wade's son. You turn around and you see the women on there wearing nothing but skimpy outfits. The little girl looking at that and saying, I can do that too. You know, if the adult women looking at it, they seeing Cardi B is being held at the highest level, everybody's worshiping her. Well, I need to be trying to be like her if I want to keep my man. If she wearing colorful wigs, I need to be wearing colorful wigs. So when you see your people on TV, yeah, it gives you excitement. But when they put our people on TV, they put them in a negative role, and we don't even know it. We just happy for the fact that we on TV, not looking at what we truly are doing. Just happy for the fact of being on TV. Wicked ass counsel.
The self-image that you want them to have.
Now, the group behind the report says they not only want to give parents tools to talk to their kids, but they also want to use it to engage content creators. Something really interesting that came out of this, the top qualities that parents say they want in role models for their kids: kind, intelligent, and confident. And that's whether you're a boy or a girl. That's what's really important to parents.
Where do you find these kids? They're amazing.
Weren't they the best?
Yeah,
So
we're
sweet.
so
And I
great.
love what that little girl Camilla said about wanting to see herself reflected.
You see that? Nobody ever said anything about keeping the commandments, following the Most High. It's always being kind and learning to follow the ways of Esau. A false image of security or beauty. That's what we have our mind focused on. That's what they present to us through these movies. I was talking about this earlier today. Is how we are the original everything. You know what I'm saying? The judges, kings, whatever the case. You know, we did everything the best. You know, and for some odd reason, we find ourselves trying to chase behind the other nations to do the things that we already had before, already been a part of. You know, for instance, let me get this off the screen right quick. For instance, being in the NBA, being a boxer, a football player. We didn't start those things, but we seen them doing it. We said, hey, we can do that better. So we went, tried our damnedest to take that over. Now what? Everything that we see them do, we trying to chase and take over. And we think we live in a life here in Babylon the Great. They'll let us come take it over. They want us to do what we always been doing, entertaining them. We take over and start entertaining. They sit back, watch. We playing the game, but they owning us. We want to wear the fly clothes and shoes. They own us. They own the shoes. The companies. They own everything. But we trying to play and trying to get ahead in this game that was not made for us to win in. But that's all done through wicked counsel. And they know that. That's why they promote it to us so hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaving out a couple things, but, you know, we're going to move on. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17, verse 1 right quick. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1 and 2.
Revelation chapter 17 and verse number 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
That's talking about Babylon. Go ahead. Or United States, or snakes as you know it. Go ahead.
Verse number 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
So it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So as all the other nations and our own, even Israel, being made drunk by the wicked counsel, the wine of her fornication. We all went off. Deception, part of that flood. Everybody's carried off by that wicked counsel, thinking that this is the home of the brave, the land of the free. Ain't nothing free here. And if you call yourself brave, hey, they're going to try their damnedest to chop you down, cut you off. You know what I'm saying? But let's go to verse 15 right quick.
Revelation chapter 17 and verse number 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
So once again, give you another reference to what those waters or those floods were. It said, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, which were the horse sitteth, which is America or Babylon the Great, are these other countries. In every country you go to around the world, you're going to have a U.S. embassy. A U.S. embassy on every land, every continent, because she sit upon many waters. She is everywhere. The influence of America is everywhere. It's everywhere. The flood, the lies, the doctrines are everywhere. All around the world, you can go to Africa, Australia, North Pole, South Pole, whatever you want to go to right now. And everybody going to think that Yahushua or Jesus is a white man for the most part. That's part of the flood, part of the lies that have been spread around the world, where the whole world then ate that up, drunk that wine, and been drunken through the lies and the politics of Babylon. But for now, let's go to, let's see, Numbers 27 and 15. I got a few more. I ain't going to hold you. I know everybody tired. It's Friday night, but Lord willing, you got some out of your class. Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 15.
Numbers 5 and 15.
Numbers 27 and 15.
27, 15. Numbers chapter 27 and verse 15.
And we're going to read at the 17.
Come. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep, which have no shepherd.
So the Lord is saying, set a man over the congregation. And let the Lord, the God of spirits, by our flesh, set a man over the congregation. So a man got to be leading. Now go to John 1 and 49. John 1 and 49. And somebody give me Ephesians 5 and 22.
Book of John, chapter 1, and verse number 49. And it reads, Nathanael answered and said unto him, Rabbi, thou art the Son of God, thou art the King of Israel.
So that man is Yahushua, the King of Israel. It's that simple, over the congregation. But let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, and try to speed it up. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. We're going to read that to 26.
The book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Hamashiach is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Hamashiach, so let the wives be subject, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Verse 25, husbands, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it.
Verse 26.
Verse number 26, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
So I brought these scriptures out, not particularly for what they actually say, but it's saying, wives, submit yourselves to your husbands. Now, when you read, you understand that we as a nation of people is a woman. So Yahushua or Christ, as you know, is our husband. So we married together. So we have to submit ourselves to our husband. You know what I'm saying? We have to submit ourselves the same way our wives have to submit themselves to us. You know what I'm saying? To get a true understanding. And we got to, let me see, verse 24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Yahushua, so let the wives be to their own husband in everything. So we got to be submissive to Yahushua in everything. It says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So we got to love our wives in that same fashion. We can't be loving the ways of this world. We can't be following the ways of this world and thinking that both worlds can exist together. It won't happen. That he might sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. Once again, making reference to that word or the water being the word. Doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Cleanse us by following his way, his word, following the words of the Most High. From there, and I brought that out is because the men have to stand up and be men, be that real example, just like Yahushua. We can't be pushovers. We can't be being led by our women, being indoctrinated by our women. We have to stand up and be men and lead. The scriptures tell us to do so. That's how the world is in order. From there, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 11, verse 15.
You mind if I get a precept, King?
Go ahead. You got
All right, the book of Job, chapter 2. Right, the book of Job, chapter 2, and verse number 7. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. So Job, he was a perfect man. And the Lord was dealing with Job because he sent Satan to him, right, to try Job, right? So the Lord smote him with sickness, right? And it reads, verse 8, and he took him a potsherd and scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Verse number 9, then said his wife unto him, dost thou retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. So this is wicked counsel, right? She told him to curse God and die, right? Now Job didn't listen to his wife. Job didn't. We're gonna find out what Job said. Verse number 10, but he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaking. What shall we receive good and at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this Job did not sin with his lips. So Job, he didn't sin with his lips. He had to rebuke her because she said, curse God and die. Meaning she lost her integrity for the Lord, right? Now, Job, he remained and he kept his integrity for the Lord. He kept serving the Most High God, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right? So we can't, like the brother saying around, hey, you can't follow around your woman, man. Hey, the Lord said, hey, if the unbelieving depart, let them depart, you know? So we have to understand that we got to follow the Lord straightway, right? Whether it be your family leaving you, whether it be your wife leaving you, your husband leaving you, your kids leaving you, you got to follow the Lord contrary to this world. All right.
That's right. Let's go to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 11, verse 15. 2 Kings, chapter 11, verse 15. Excuse me. 2 Kings, chapter 11, verse 15.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 11 and verse 15. But Jehoiada, the priest, commanded the captains of the hundreds, the officers of the host, and said unto them, have her forth without the ranges, and him that followeth kill with the sword. For the priest had said, let her not be slain in the house of the Lord.
Read the 17.
And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by which the horses came unto the king's house, and there was she slain. And Jehoiada, Salakia family, made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people, that they should be the Lord's people, between the king also and the people.
So when you go back up to verse 15, it says, but Jehoiada the priest commanded the captains of hundreds and officers of the host, and said unto them, have her forth without the ranges, and him that followeth her kill with the sword. So this is an example of when you follow the woman, you're gonna be put to death. They set up a plan, a strategy. When she come out and the men following behind her, they supposed to be leading, but they following behind. They will be put to death. She would put to death, but they would put to death first for following her. You know what I'm saying? Men got to stand up and be leaders. But we're gonna jump down to let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 13. 2 Samuel chapter 13.
The book of 2 Samuel.
We're gonna read 1 through 5.
The book of 2 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother, and Jonadab was a very subtle man.
So right here in this story, in this reference, is letting you know about a brother named Amnon, who was basically filling his sister, who was David King. This is King David's son, his sons and daughter, but he had different wives, multiple wives. So this was a son from another wife, and he was looking at the daughter from another wife, which was Absalom's sister. So you got one brother lusting after his own sister. And he went to his friend who was named Jonadab, who was a very subtle man, meaning a very crafty, slick individual. Can you read?
Verse number 4. And he said unto him, why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. Verse number 5. And Jonadab said unto him, lay thee down on thy bed, and make thyself sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come, and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I might see it, and eat it at her hand.
So at this particular time, we already know that this brother was feeling his sister. That's wicked as hell, but that's what it is. So he went to his friend. And like we were talking about in the beginning of the class, you got to seek godly counsel. And you got to understand the mindset of the people you're going to get this counseling from. Because the brother he went to was already wicked as hell. He was having wicked thoughts in his mind, so he went to a wicked individual to get counseling. Now, if you want to find out every little detail as to what happened, I encourage you, brothers and sisters, to read this. 2 Kings chapter 13. Read that. It's a good read. I'm not going to spoil everything, but this brother was put to death for his wickedness. But he followed wicked counsel made by a wicked friend. If it was a real friend, a friend would have told him, hey, man, what the hell wrong with you? That's your sister, man. Hey, go pray about that. Go talk to your father about that. You know, if you really about that life, you know, you really want to know what to do about it. Hey, go to your father. Pray about it. But that brother was not on point. That was a wicked counselor. So this is going to be the last script. Let's go to Sirach chapter 6, verse 22.
Hey, King, I got a precept. right quick.
Yeah.
This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 5. Why should ye be stricken anymore? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole land is sick, and the whole heart faint. And saying, why should we be stricken anymore? Taking counsel from other people, man, that's wicked. Taking wicked counsel will cause us to be stricken again and again, more and more. So why we won't seek the Lord and seek out the good counsel, instead of seeking out the wicked counsel? Just like the brother, why would he go and ask another guy, knowing this man ain't got no morals about himself? He want to go and be conniving and get him to sleep with his sister.
Right.
That's seeking wicked counsel. So Israel, we gotta we should not want to be stricken more and more. We don't want to be sick anymore. We want to, get good counsel and good physicians to get us out of this situation. Good spiritual physicians.
That's right.
Okay.
So this is gonna be the last scripture or the last section I'm gonna read. Sirach chapter 6 or Ecclesiastes chapter 6 verse 22, and we're gonna read that to 37.
The book of Sirach.
So this is what real wisdom is and the benefits. What real wisdom is and her benefits.
The book of Sirach chapter 6 and verse 22. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many.
So she is not manifest unto many. Wisdom don't abide or live or dwell with a lot of individuals. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel.
Give ear to wisdom. Receive my advice and refuse not counsel of wisdom. Go ahead.
And put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain.
Meaning being locked down by wisdom. Go ahead.
Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds.
Go ahead.
Verse 26. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power.
Come to her with your whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. This wisdom, this knowledge, these are the commandments, whether you know it or not. Come, bow yourself down to keeping these commandments. Come unto her with your whole heart. That's how you serve the Lord, with your whole heart, by keeping these commandments. Go ahead.
Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go.
Let her not go. Once you get this understanding, don't let it go. To go back out into the world to have a good time, to follow after something you think is what you want. Hey, the Lord says, search and seek. Keep searching for what's really required. Keep searching for that understanding. Keep searching and seeking for truth. And it shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let not go. Don't let go of that. Go ahead.
Verse number 28. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and thou shalt be turned to thy joy. Verse 29.
Keep going.
Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory.
You see that? When you start keeping these commandments and seeking the Lord wholeheartedly, now the thing that you were struggling with beforehand, they become your defense. These these commandments become your defense. That chain of glory of wisdom becomes your glory now. When you were struggling at the beginning trying to keep the commandments, you found it hard. But you put them shackles and them chains on, and you said, I'm going to be locked in wisdom in these commandments. When you started keeping them, now they became your protection. Instead of you going to that club and being a victim or a possibility of being shot in the club, now you were protected because you were at the house. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you blowing your money, you were saving your money now. Instead of shaving your beard off, you grew it out now. Now you were mighty. You know what I'm saying? You put on that dress. You put down that manly spirit and you picked up your womanly spirit, the feminine spirit. you became more humble, more understanding, knowing your role. You know what I'm saying? They became your glory. Now, when people see you in that dress, they admire that. Talking to the sisters, they look at that and see the dress on the sister. Wow, I love that. But when you were in them pants, they wasn't giving you them compliments. They wasn't doing those things. Just like when the brother was out doing wickedness, he was just kind of just like everybody else, just a nigga in the street. Now that you come back, now they questioning. Now they want to know what you know. They want to know why you don't want to participate in these things anymore. What does he know? What do they know? Now being, let me read that again. Then shall her fetters be strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. Keeping the commandments gonna have you glorified. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
Verse number 30. And you mind if I go in on 29 a little bit?
Go ahead. You got
verse number 29. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. So, of course, the wisdom, these are chains, right? It's to hold you back from doing things in the world, right? When things arise, wisdom comes up and you decide to make a different decision. So these are chains that are holding you back from you going into the world. But those chains, when to a wise man, those will become a robe of glory, right? So although you have these chains of wisdom on, it's going to feel like a robe unto you, right? Verse number 30. For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace.
So basically, they're saying that wisdom and commandment, they look good on you. Go ahead.
Verse number 31. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shall put her about thee as a crown of joy.
You see that? You're going to put on, you're going to look good, and you're going to feel good at the same time. Be joyful. Go ahead.
My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent.
So if you willing, you shall be smart. If you apply your mind, thou shalt be made prudent, smart. Go ahead.
Verse 33. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise.
You see that? Because you get wisdom through hearing. That's why I tell you to be swift to hear and slow to speak. You can't learn when you're talking, you know? So if thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. You want to know something, you ask a question. How are you going to get the answer if you're talking over the person trying to give you the answer? That makes no sense. Go ahead.
Right, that's right. Hey, brother, and these are like commandments. The Lord is commanding wisdom to stay with you if
that's right.
You bow down your ear and if you want to hear. So the Lord said, thou shalt receive understanding. Those are commandments. The Lord is commanding wisdom to dwell within you if you hear his word. Right?
That's right.
Reading on in verse 34. Stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise.
You see that? Stand in the multitude of elders. Why wouldn't you want to be around older individuals so you can learn to get ahead? Think about that. You're not going to ask somebody younger than you to basically, I ain't going to say that. I just say it's a commandment. Stand in the multitude of elders and cleave unto him that is wise. Stand in the multitude of elders. Ain't nothing but knowledge going to be gained from them. You know what I'm saying? Stand in the multitude of elders if you want to be wise. Cleave unto him that is wise. Go ahead.
Verse 35. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee.
Like the brother was saying, these are commandments. It say, be willing to hear every godly discourse. Not some, but every godly discourse. And let not the parables of understanding escape thee. Now, you might not have brothers speaking parables like A.O.I, but they got sayings of the world. And you should understand those parables. Understand what they say and what they mean. because they can help you out on down the road. Keep reading.
Verse 36. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door.
So if you find a wise individual, you're supposed to be at their doorstep all the time, damn near. Every time they turn around, you right there, because you soaking up that information. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be at that person all the time. Wear their steps out at their door, to the point where they tired of seeing you because you there trying to soak up that knowledge. That's how our youth should be with the elders. You know, wanting to know the history, want to know what they went through in their lifetime. This is what we need to be doing. But as we understand and see in our society, that's not the case. Our youth don't want anything to do with the elder unless it's something they can get out of. They should be soaking up their knowledge and wisdom so that they can get ahead in life, because the elders don't want the youth to fail. They want them to be way 100% better than they were. So they have to have that mindset, and the elders can't have that mindset of, that ain't my child, I ain't got time for it. That ain't my family, I ain't gonna deal with it. Nah, we a nation of people. We got to bear each other's burdens, and we should be building each other up day in and day out, whenever we get the opportunity. So let's get this last verse.
Verse number 37. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thine own desire.
You see that? So meditate day in and day out on the Lord commandments and his ordinances, and he shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. That's what we got to do as a nation. We can't be seeking after wicked counsel, but seeking after the Lord, meditating on his word day in and day out. That's how we become strong as an individual, as a family, as a nation. So I pray and hope that y'all brothers and sisters got some out of today's class. And I'm Brother Ananias.
Brother Benaiah.
Brother Yakub.
And we are A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. And we pray and hope that everybody got some understanding tonight. Got to give all honor, glory, praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahushua being his son, who the world calls Christ. And on that note, if y'all brother got something y'all want to add, all right, on that note, we say shalom to you.